Om Nilambujasyamalakomalangam Sita Samaropitavamabhagam Panau Maha Sayakacharu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham. Adorations to Lord Rama, whose complexion is like a blue lotus, who is very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side and is carrying a powerful bow and arrow in his hands. This adoration to the divine self in a highly allegorical manner. And we are getting into Sri Ramcharitmanas, Balakanda, 43rd verse. Mati anuhari subari gun gani mana anahai sumiri bhavani sankarai kaha kavi katha suhai. Tulsi Ji is giving a prologue to his great writings, the poetic writings of Ramayana. He says, according to my buddhi, according to my intellect, having reflected upon the beauty of Rama's glory. Rama's glory is allegorically described as a lake, as a beautiful lake. And just like you look at the lake and become enchanted by it, you sit by it, you chit-chat with ducks and swans, and finally you get inside the lake and you enjoy. In the same way, Tulsi Ji says, having reflected upon the qualities of this beautiful water and having bathed my mind by this sacred water, having adored Bhavani and Shankara. Bhavani is Parvati Devi or Sati Devi at this stage. Shankara is Lord Shiva. Shiva and Bhavani, they refer to Brahman and Maya from advanced point of view. I now commence the story of the Ramayana. Ab Raghupati pada pankaruha yadhari pai prasad kahau jugal mun muni varyakar milan subhag samvad. Having installed the lotus feet of Lord Rama in my heart, and having received the prasad of adoring the lotus feet, I will commence meeting of two great munis, two great saints, sages. Two terms are used for enlightened personalities, munis and rishis. Rishis are known as sages, and what is more highlighted in them is jnana aspect. Aham Brahmasmi. Munis are more humbler aspect, and they blend jnana and bhakti in their personality. Both are equally enlightened, liberated. तब भरद्वाज मुनि बसहि प्रयागा तिनहि राम पद अति अनुरागा तापस सम दम दया निधाना परमारथ पद परम सुजाना. In Prayag is a great pilgrimage center in India, center that is at the conjunction of three great rivers, Ganges, Yamuna and Saraswati. People see Ganges and Yamuna, they are visible. Saraswati comes as an undercurrent river. and all the three join together. That conjunction of three rivers pointing out to the practice of integral yoga. Yamuna river relates to karma yoga, the path of action. Ganga river relates to bhakti yoga, the path of devotion. Saraswati river relates to jnana yoga. Action, emotion, and reason, these are the highlights of your personality. And as you advance, all these three are integrated into what is known as Sampurna Yoga. Those who have knowledge of Kundalini Yoga, three nadis are brought to your view: Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna. Sushumna is the Saraswati. Ida is the Ganges river. Pingala is the Yamuna river. Ida flows through your left. You breathe lot only through the left nostril. The body cools down and you increase a lot of passivity. You breathe a lot with the right nostril. Pingala is a heating nadi, and that creates heat, even from a practical point of view. For maintaining good health, there is always a divine plan. You do not go on breathing through the same nostril. Your nostrils change whether you like it or not. Sometimes in the left, sometimes in the right. And Hatha Yoga gives you an insight that if you are feeling abnormal, adopt one simple method: change the breathing from one nostril to the other. And how can it be done? If you lie down on your left, the right will begin to flow, if not immediately, within a short time. Likewise, lie down to the right, the left will flow. But if your mind is extremely calm, both nostrils begin to flow. And that's the ideal. Then you enjoy inner peace. These three nadis, they have a conjunction at the Mooladhara, at the base of the spine. That's called Baddha Triveni. As you awaken the Kundalini Shakti, and Kundalini Shakti reaches your Ajna Chakra between the eyebrows, then all the three nadis, all the three mystic streams join. And that's a kind of a climax, Mukta Triveni. There is no bondage there. The three come together in a most profound way. And all this is brought out in a physical plane. That was the plan of the rishis. Things that you read in the scriptures, they are pointed out in the physical plane. Here is a Manasarovara in the lake in the Himalayas. The Ganges river, Bhakti, you can watch it flowing. Yamuna river, Dwaraka, Kashi, and different pilgrimage centers. They are all like a scripture opened before you. You go to Calcutta and you learn more about Kali. Go to Tirupati, learn more about more mysterious worship. And similarly to different, but here Tulsi Ramayana chose Prayag, the conjunctions of the three rivers. Prayag is the most adored pilgrimage center. Bharadwaj Muni abode in Prayag. Bharadwaj Muni basai Prayaga. Tinahi Rama pada ati anuraga. Tapas samadhamadaya nidhana. Paramarata patha patha param sujana. Bharadwaj Muni dwells in Prayag. He has profound love for the lotus feet of Rama. He is tapasvi, given to profound austerity. Shama, practice of serenity. Dhamma, control of senses. He is the embodiment of compassion, and he is the knower of the path that leads to the supreme abode. He is the best knower. Magha makara gat rabi jab hoi, तीरथ पति आव सब कोई, देव दनुज किन्नर नर श्रेणी, सादर मज्जहि सकल त्रिवेणी. During Magha month, that relates to January, February, and according to the season, it is Shishir Ritu. There is greater clearance in the sky and coolness in the atmosphere. As people generally say, cool it, cool it. At that time, the whole nature has cooled it. That's the time when people go to the pilgrimage center to take a plunge in the confluence of the three rivers. All people from all stages, all types of souls, they are described as Deva, Danuj, Kinnar, Nar, and it gives you a kind of imagery of different types of spirits going there. Devas looking wonderful, Danuj looking with broken teeth or big teeth, horns on their head. Kinnaras, what I'm trying to explain to you humorously, that they are not realities. Human beings are a blend of all these. People who are divine, they are devas, they go to the pilgrimage center and they set up jnana yajna, they set up satsanga. And there are people who are not so advanced, they are in human level. There are people who are subhuman level because they're dominated by asuri sampat, the demoniac qualities. And they come in different stages. So they are all being described as Deva, Danuj, Kinnar, Nar. All of them, no matter which stage of evolution you are, you will be benefited by taking a plunge in the waters of Triveni. But the plunge in the water is leading you to satsanga. In itself, it has its own mystic power. All pilgrimage centers, you must realize, they are charged with spiritual vibrations. Just like in medicine you speak of potency. Here is a mystic potency built up in pilgrimage centers. Because through thousands of years people have gone on reciting the mantras, entering into the Ganges or the confluence of rivers. And all this is recorded in the psychic ether. Not available for ordinary masses, but even ordinary masses, unawares, come under the influence, and it is highly beneficial. But if you go to pilgrimage center with proper sensitivity, with devotion, not only take a plunge in the river, but also enter into satsanga and do good deeds, that has a powerful effect in your life in a positive way. Puja hi madhava pada jala jata, parasi akhaya batu bharashahi gata. Having gone to Prayag, the devotees worship the lotus feet of Veni Madhav. The deity, predominating deity is Krishna, with the name Veni Madhav. Veni because of Triveni, the three rivers have joined together. And Madhava term is famous for Lord Krishna, Madhav Krishna. Mystical meaning of Madhav is Ma relates to mauन, silence, mystic silence. Dha relates to dhyan, profound meditation. Va relates to jnana, silence, dhyan and jnana. All these divine qualities blend, and that is expressed by Madhav, Madhav Krishna. Feet of Madhav Krishna, and always the feet of great divine personalities are described as lotus. The quality of lotus is there in water. Water shines on it, but it doesn't cling to it. Lotus drops slip off the petals as if they were not there. The divine feet are giving you the indication of attaining absolute detachment. Be like the sky. The sky brings in so many clouds, etc. But the sky doesn't get scratched by all the clouds and all the noises. So it is that type of detachment that you emulate if you pursue God. And then these devotees, Parasi Akhaya Batu, they touch with great reverence a banyan tree, an ancient banyan tree called Akshaya Bat. Akshaya, that which is imperishable. Akshaya Bat is embodiment of divine presence. The entire world is described in another context. The entire world is described as a tree with roots above, branches below. But that tree is cut down by asanga, by detachment, by love of God. And when you have cut down that kshayabata, perishable tree, now you get to akshayabata. Now the tree you have gotten is God Himself. But all this inner sentiment and inner understanding stays in the heart of the devotee. Physically, they actually touch the tree and feel what's happening within. Bharadwaja ashrama ati pavan, paramaramya muni varamana bhavan. In that setting, there was the ashram of Bharadwaja Rishi. Bharadwaja Rishi is a sage of Vedic fame, composer of Vedic richas, Vedic verses. He is considered the son of Brihaspati, the guru of gods, and there are many stories behind him. That Bharadwaja Rishi had his ashram, and according to going into more devotional way, not has his ashram. Ati Pavan, it is supreme purifier, Paramaramya, and extremely enchanting to the mind. Manabhavan, the mind becomes immersed with the joy and with the beauty of that pilgrimage center. Taha hoi muni rishay samaja, jahi je majjan tirath raja, majjahi prat samet uchaha, kahi paraspar hari gun gaha. Those people, devotees, who take a plunge in the Ganges, in the Triveni water, and after they have taken bath, they join in Satsanga, conducted by sages and saints. Early in the morning, there is a great enthusiasm in all those people. They're not yawning and not showing boredom. Their eyes are sparkling, their bodies are vibrant, and they're bouncing as they walk. That's Utsaha, great Utsaha. Kahin paraspar harigun gaha. And mutually they are talking about different stories and glories of God. Have you heard about Rama, what he said to whom? But let me tell you about Krishna. And I said, let me tell you about Shiva. I will talk to you about Bhakti. And so I will give you about Jnana. Come on, and I'll give you insight into Kundalini Yoga. This is called Charcha. Mutually they talk about them. There's nothing else to talk about, which is the benefit of going into pilgrimage center. At home, we wouldn't have studied them with great interest. But now pilgrimage centers awaken you taste and interest in stories of God from broad point of view, kirti of God. And of course, church term comes from charcha. Taha hoi muni rishay samaja, jahi je majjan tirath raja, majjahi prat samet uchaha, kahi paraspar hari gun gaha. Now those people who take a plunge in the waters of the pilgrimage center, they join in where there is congregation of sages and saints. And in this case, in the ashram of Bharadwaj, all take their bath in the early morning and they talk about glory of God. That's what happens in that satsanga atmosphere. Brahma nirupan dharma vidhi, baranahi tattva vibhag, kahahi bhagati bhagavanta kay, sanjut jnana virag. Now, lots of things have been put in one verse. What do you expect to have in satsanga? Brahma nirupan. Who is Brahman? How is this world created? And again, I will give you that simple outline of Brahma nirupan. First point, Brahman alone exists, whether you believe it or not. Just like you have illuminations of all types on the earth. But behind all those illuminations, what is the reality? The sun alone is. That Brahman is like a magician. A magician has a magical power. Those who are not deluded by his magical power, they will not see magical feats created by him. But those who are deluded by magical power, for them, magical power of Brahman becomes Prakriti. And Prakriti has three aspects. Sattva predominating Prakriti is called Maya. Through Maya, Brahman assumes three roles. Creator, called Brahma. Sustainer, called Vishnu. Destroyer, called Shiva. Same Brahman, through Rajas predominating Prakriti, called Avidya. Now, Rajas predominating Prakriti is in different degrees. And Brahman appears as countless souls, just like the sun appears as countless reflections in countless vessels of water. Brahman appears as countless souls, evolving through Prakriti. Same Brahman, through Tamas predominating Prakriti, manifests as subtle elements, tadamatras, ether, air, fire, water, and earth. But they are subtle, subtler than the concepts of atoms and electrons. Those subtle elements go to compose your entire personality, from intellect, ego, down to your toenails. So, Brahman alone is behind all this Maya, Avidya, Prakriti. This third type of Prakriti called Tamasi Prakriti. One Prakriti becomes three: Maya, Avidya, and Tamasi Prakriti. And these three go to create this entire universe in all planes. But end up, there is nothing but Brahman and Prakriti. And to end up further, that Prakriti is nothing but Maya Shakti, a magical power, not different from the magician. So there is non-duality. All this is Brahman. This is the example of Brahma Nirupana, giving you insight into Brahman. And ending up saying, thou art that. Everyone, you are essentially Brahman, the Absolute. Next theme, the highlighted topic, is Dharma Vidhi, how to conduct yourself in a righteous manner. That's what is the highlight of pilgrimage centers. And these highlights relate to any ashram which is working on a very profound way. There are 8 characteristics of, rather 10 characteristics of Dharma. Dhriti Kshama Damasteyam Shaucham Indriya Nigraha Dhira Vidya Satyam Akrodho Dashakam Dharma Lakshanam. And Dhriti, I'm just giving you this substance behind it. To be really religious, must understand from broad point of view. Otherwise, at the mass level, at the very low level, to be religious is to call yourself, my God is Shiva, my God is Vishnu. No, my God is Ganesha. That's the very early stage. The real religion requires not what you say whom you believe in, but the way righteousness expresses through your personality. Yato dharmas tato jaya. Where there is dharma, there is victory. So if you are really on the Godward path, these will be your indications in life. What are they? Vritti. Vritti is being patient. The literal meaning is firmness. Having the ability to wait and watch. If you don't have the ability, then you cannot really progress in life. Next point is kshama. In a very simple manner, in a simple stage, kshama means forgiveness. People go on doing things that will annoy you, upset you, frustrate you. But you must realize all people are like children. If you are in a good family with a mature mind, you look at children and you see them doing abrupt things. One child is standing up, another has gone down the bed, another is going to look for a mouse. And you hold no grudge against anyone. You allow them to do with a joyous heart. If they are doing something wrong, then if a child is going to touch a flame, you immediately go and do anything possible to stop the child. But all this is done not by holding any grudge against anyone, out of love. Handle the world out of love. Be a mother. Put it in a mystical term. Have a motherly, fatherly heart for the entire creation. Therefore, when you do prayer, your heart should speak out loudly. Sarve bhavantu sukhina. May all be happy. You should start counting who should be happy. And who should not be happy. May all be happy. So that type of attitude is kshama. You are not looking at the defects of people, their limitations. You have forgiven all their limitations. Another aspect of kshama, if someone has done something wrong to you, your attitude should be not to hold grudge, but to remedy it by acts of love. जो को कांटा बुए ताहि बोई तू फूल. Very nicely presented. People bring and sow thorns in your garden, especially designed for your feet to be scratched or hurt. And having come to realize who did it, instead of developing a bigger range of bullying aspect of mind, instead of thorn, let me plant knives for my enemy. Instead, to figure out who did it and bring wonderful jasmine flowers, lotuses, plant them there. You may take it literally, but it has a profound meaning. Try to understand that anyone doing wrongly is because of mental ill health. If mind is really healthy, real health of mind means mind has to have love of God. I'm not talking medical definition. And so just like in hospital, you have If you are a real good doctor, you have compassion towards all patients, patients that are crying and they are even shouting at the doctor. You go to hell, oh doctor. The doctor understands why the person is doing that. So I've led you with all that. Coming back, the first quality was dhriti, firmness. Second, kshama. The kshama is such a broad quality that if we stick to that pursuit of kshama, you will attain enlightenment. Your life will be most sublime. Third quality, dhamma, control of senses. Senses are like horses. Horses should not guide the chariot. The chariot driver should drive the chariot, not the horses driving the chariot. So in other words, if senses become dominating in you, you are moving on the path of adharma, unrighteousness. Asteya, non-stealing. These points I have touched before. Shauch, purity of body and mind. Indriya nigra, disciplining the senses. Dhi, having sattvic intellect. Vidya, having spiritual knowledge. Satyam, truthfulness. Akrodh, absence of anger. These are 10 highlighted points. They speak of dharma. So Brahma nirupana dharma vidhi. Varnahi tattva vibhag. And tattva vibhag also I have already explained how these tattvas, the 5 subtle elements, go to create the entire world. There's a whole study of those tattvas and their combinations. And most importantly, kahahi bhagati bhagavant ke, how to develop devotion to God. Sanjit jnana virag, real devotion blossoms in you. Along with, it's always associated with jnana, jnana that God alone is. Virag, detachment towards the world of illusion. This passion and knowledge, they go along with bhakti, devotion. There's the saying, mukti bhakti ki dasi hai. Bhakti is devotion. Liberation is like a maid servant, follows the bhakti where she goes. Ehi prakar bhari magh nahahi, puni sab nij nij ashram jahi. Prati sambat ati hoi ananda, makar majj gavanahi muni vrinda. Thus, all through Magh, January, February, this daily bath goes on, and then people go to different ashrams. Every year, this period is of a great joy. The word Magh, Ma is negation. Agh means sins. When sins are negated, just like the sky becomes cloudless, your heart becomes free of sins. Magh Ritu has entered. एक बार भरी मकर नहाए, सब मुनीष आश्रम न सीधाए. जाग बलिक मुनि परम विवेकी, Bharadwaj rakhe pad teki. Once upon a time, during that type of special occasion of pilgrims having taken plunge of Ganges water for a whole month, at this occasion, Bharadwaj ji held the feet fell at the feet of Yajnavalkya and persuaded him to stay in the ashram and not leave the ashram, to provide for him a special opportunity of satsanga. Now, Yajnavalkya is another great sage. A mention is there in Vrihadaranyaka. In the Vedic literature, he has created various mantras. In Vrihadaranyaka, Yajnavalkya is the one who discusses Atmagyan with his wife Maitreyi. Yajnavalkya Maitreyi Samvad. What is that for which all souls, what is that which is loved by all? Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Yajnavalkya states, for the sake of self, all becomes dear. Human mind goes after what is dear. And what is dear is like countless deer. Deer. Running in the world in all directions. The reality is, what is dear is God Himself. And God is your essential nature. Again, don't build up that illusion that God is somewhere in a mighty throne and you are just a little rabbit before Him. Self-surrender doesn't mean that. Self-surrender implies like a river, having adored the ocean, finally submits itself, enters into the ocean. Then what happens to the river? It is the ocean. So the ultimate reach is absolute identity with God. And that state becomes liberation, moksha. But all the time you must realize you are meant to attain absolute identity. Because every ray of the sun is the sun. Every reflected sun is actually the sun. Nothing different from the sun in its core. Jagabalik word has been used by Tulsi Das, showing his utter humility. Being a great poet and great scholar of Sanskrit, he comes down to the masses. What will come to their ears in a pleasant manner, understandable. Yajnavalkya requires a little literary mind. Jagabalik now is in harmony with the masses. Sadara charana saroj pakhare ati punita asana baithare kari puja muni suja subakhani bole ati punita mridubani. Bharadwaj, with great respect, washed the lotus feet of Yajnavalkya. And this is an ancient tradition of great importance. Touching the feet, washing the feet, pressing on the feet. It's a reflexology of the highest order. And having welcomed the sage, having given him a wonderful seat, and having offered his praises, "O sage, how great are you, how wonderful," so many words of devotional praise. And then Bharadwaj, in doing all this, he said, "Nath ek sansau bada mere mere more, karagat veda dattvat sabutore, kahat sumohi lagat bhai laja, jaun kahun bada hoi akaja." O Lord, saints are addressed, but in reality you are addressing God in saints. So the word Bhagavan you use, O Bhagavan, O Lord. In my mind there is a great doubt, Shanka. You are the knower of all the subtleties of the Vedas. In expressing my doubt, I am gripped by a sense of fear and shame. Fear that I may not be presenting my difficulty in the right way. I may end up insulting you. And shame, how is it? Being on the spiritual path, having spent most of my life, how is it I have not attained knowledge? You must realize in this context, both points are admirable. They're acts of humility. You are always in humility aware. Let me not speak up something that will be insulting to the sage. As well as whatever knowledge you have gained so far, always come with humility. Don't come with the idea. Telling a sage, I have studied the Upanishads, the Brahma Sutras. And how many have you studied? You come with that mentality. There cannot be real spiritual teaching. संत कहीं असिनीति प्रभु श्रुति पुराण मुनि गाओ कोई न विमल विवेक उर गुरु सन किए दुराओ. O Lord, this is the saying of the sages, and it's also stated in the Vedas and Puranas that by holding back your heart, your contents of your heart, by holding back your secrets from Guru, pure wisdom cannot be gained. That you have to easily understand. It's just like a patient goes to a doctor, but holds back in telling all his all the characteristics of his disease. He holds back, keeps certain things in secret. But what can the doctor do? So with this, we conclude. You must realize I'm going into the depth of the Ramayana, and each verse has its profound meaning. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Ramayana. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah.